while exploring the topic of working of Ishtadlis, there's a Maimah Chazal which has to guide us. We should constantly have this memory that Chazal teach us how to go about it, which if a person really tries to comply, to be Mekayim, what Chazal tell us how to go about it, it could help a person also when they have a dilemma. If it's something they should do, something they shouldn't do. It's a job that's made for them, it's not made for them. It's too much ishtadlis, it's too little ishtadlis. And you have it, you understand the topic better, deeper, fundamental, then it's sometimes easier that a person could know and feel that's good, that's not good. This is right, this is wrong. Chazal in Masechtas Brochas, famous Gemara, the Gemara says that a person has to make Torosoi Kva or Malachtoi Arai. Learning should be the main topic in life, and Malachtoi should be the lesser, the Tofel. Is there words for Kva and Arai? I don't think so. Now, what it sounds like from the Gemara,
central and subsidiary.
Central and?
Subsidiary.
It's too hard. But the Iker, the main focus of a person's life should be Torah Kva, and his work should be secondary. It should be Arai. It shouldn't be so strong, taking over his life. The Gemara Masechtas Brachas continues on to say that the Rishonim, the previous generations, Sha'osu Torosam Kva Malachtam Arai, Zev Zen is Kaim V'Yodim. The ones that did it, they were successful in Torah and they were successful in business. But if people changed it around, and in later generations, when people made their Melacha be the main factor in life, the focus was on earning money, it took much more of their koiches, then Zev Zen Lo Niskayim V'Yodim. Both didn't work out. And they weren't successful, not in Torah and not in the business world. Now this is very interesting, because it's simple that if a person invests his whole essence, he invests in Torah, then he'll be matzliach, and if not, then they're not matzliach. But here the Gemara is teaching us that it works with Melacha the opposite. That means if you go and you invest yourself totally in work, you're not going to be successful. It sounds very extreme. It sounds like it's not b'derech hateva. What do you mean? They all teach us that you have to invest yourself very serious. Oh, it depends what it means to be invested. So it really needs to be open. The topic needs to be open from another angle also. I don't want to forget, so you remind me, because we have to remember that on the other hand we have the psukim in Mishlei, where Shlomo HaMelech says time and again, so many psukim in Mishlei, that the Otzel, the one that's lazy and doesn't work, and work very seriously, not just to be yoitze. He's like he's very he talks very boifen shel gnai, denigrates the person that's a Otzel. Terrible. The Shlomo HaMelech, someone that just sits around and doesn't really take life serious and go to work. That's terrible. The Shlomo HaMelech looks at such a person, terrible. It's a busha for the world. Such a person, it's embarrassing.
Ask you how much you can bench and daven when you're working.
Yeah, you see in Chazal that if a person is at work, then he can't even daven the whole davening, because he's not allowed to. He's not allowed to bite off from the hours that he's committed to his employer. But back to this Maimah Chazal, we have to understand it with a grip. What does it mean? What does it mean lemaisa? That means practically. I have a family to feed. It's not easy. I can't work 4 hours a day. I can't make ends meet with 4 hours a day. And Shlomo HaMelech says that you have to work very, very seriously. So, what does it mean, Asay Torah Kva? And more than that, what's fascinating is that Chazal are speaking very seriously. They're saying if a person is making Melacha Kva, then you're not doing Melacha the way you're supposed to. I want to stress the question. It's something that people don't chap. If Chazal would tell us, if you are very serious about learning, you'll be successful in work. If you're not, you're going to be missing Parnasa. Okay, we know that. The Torah brings Parnasa, the Torah brings abundance, everything. Okay, we chap. But here's a very interesting thing. If a person makes Melacha Kva, then in a certain sense, it sounds from Chazal that he's not doing what he's supposed to in the workforce. You're not doing it right. You're doing something wrong. It's not going to work. It's going to fail. Because it can't work. It can't hold if you make Melacha Kva. And it's not Niskayim. When something is not Niskayim, it means that if a person is trying to push themselves, everybody should know who they are and whatever, and it's a bunch of Hara'ir. So then we'll have a Mav Chazal that says, listen, it's not going to last. The Chazal say, Emes kushtokoi. It holds something that's real, something that's kavua, something that's like sheker. It doesn't last. Chazal look at someone that makes malachtoi. He takes his work and he makes it kavua. He makes it that's his main focus in life. Like he's messed up. That's a Chazal look, and it looks very funny. It looks very funny because it's two big questions on it. The number one question is that we need to go to work very seriously, Shleim HaMelech. You can't just say that it's something that whenever I have time I do it, if I don't have time I don't do it, or whatever. You have to be serious about it. And number two, from the Seder HaTeva, from the world, why should it be like that? Torah should be very serious with a person. Or why should it be that a person that makes Melacha Kva, something is wrong, something is messed up? That's the question.
No, it seems that we're looking at Kva and Arai like Ikar and Tofa. And then we seem to be translating into how much time or how much energy. But if we look at Kviyah Sitim the Torah, Kviyah Sitim is not necessarily how many hours, it's that it's kavua.
So this is what we want to get to. But let's understand it. It's very important to get the grip, like what's the plan of the Bria, and why a person is supposed to chap what's called a normal life and what's called not normal. Not only because Chazal say you have to learn X amount of hours a day, or because you have to daven. Just Chazal look at it. They're observing the person that's making Melacha Kva, and they're saying he's messed up. In the Seder HaOlam, if someone is a workaholic, it's not good, right? Why? Because he's overdoing it. Chazal look with Torah eyes at some other people, even though they're not officially workaholics, that they're not healthy. They're not healthy people. There are people that between others they could schmooze and it's healthy. Then you could see other people that they're not healthy. They're schmoozing for 6 hours at night. They're coming up at 3 a.m. They're not healthy. So Chazal look at someone that made Teirosoi Arai Melacha Kva, Zev Zelo in Iskayim. Like you didn't have not this and not that. It's Chaval. So here, this is what takes us to the main Akuda. First, we'll quote a tzavo from the grandchild of the Chidushei Orim, the Rebbe from Pilz, the Pinchas from Pilz, Sifsei Tzadik. He says, B'Shem, his grandfather from Chidushei Orim. He's in his tzavo. He tells us Chassidim that they should learn hours every day, the Shechaparayin learning, and then he says, like I heard from my grandfather, that what is the real taich Melacha Arai and Teirosei Kva? It means shekovu belibam. They set in their heart the understanding shezehu ikar achiyas, that Torah is the makor, the source of their life and everything that they have, and that was the reason that this caused brocha, blessing, to go into the Mekach Memkar keshehu arai. That means, like you were starting to say, that the concept that Chazal want a person to understand is that even if you work from 9 to 5, which most times a person has to have a full day, he has to be full. He's not allowed to have time that's just getting wasted. a full-time worker should understand that that's not what's bringing him mischias, and that is going to help the person understand that that's arai. It's the understanding, it's the program in the mind which Chazal are talking about. If a person is programmed that this Melacha, this is giving me my money, I'm taking money, I have a way how to get money, and if I do another deal, if I convince somebody else to buy, that's how I'm going to make money. I have to run around and because I need money. That's what we are talking about, kva. Kva means he's focused on it and he's totally invested in it, understanding that this is my life. I need to do it because if I'm not going to do it, I'm not going to have money.
Everything revolves around that.
And that what happens is that everything revolves because I need the money. That's called making Melacha kva, which is not healthy. Chazal are saying, forget about Amunah for a second, forget about your kriyas itim. There's something terribly wrong. Ad kidei kach, we have to continue on the shir, we could even call it that Chochmas Chaim gets wrong. That means even without the Torah factor, even someone would be a honest Gentile, an honest person, not having Negias right now and he's observing it, he could see this person is not a healthy person. We have to get to it to explain it. That's how we see in Chazal, that's how they refer to it. It's not niskayim. It's not something that's really going to last for real. So again, the nakuda, the main dogish where a person is supposed to try to change their mindset. That's what Chazal wants. Change your mindset that you know that this is my life, and the Melacha is number 2, secondary. I have to do it because the Torah wants me to do it, but it's not where I'm getting my money from. It's not where I'm getting my chiyas from. That's what's so important a person should chap.
Maybe the test of it would be if a person's business fails, or he loses his job, is he destroyed?
Right.
Does he still
That's Allah base. Yeah. That when you could see it. You could see it many times. If a person loses their job, what happens to them if they feel that it's the end? And so many times, what says the end? It's nothing. Hashem is bringing them to a much better place, like we see all the time. But let's understand the topic better. The Mesilas Yesharim in Perek Chaf Aleph, famous Mesilas Yesharim which talks about Hishtadlus, that it's only a knas. Famous Mesilas Yesharim, Adam Rishon's Chet, Hishtadlus, it doesn't help. It's just mukhrach. You have to do it. He adds there such an important understanding, which is supposed to open up the mind. He says, you have to understand the Hishtadlus you need to do, but that's not what's helping you get. It's not going to bring you the money and everything. The real mahalach, the real way of the Chasidim or Yeshoinim. He uses the term ikar and tafel. It worked. They knew how to learn. They were connected to the Rebbeinu Shalom. They davened. They were Yidden. Torah doesn't only mean that they remembered Yiddias and Torah. Torah means they became Torah people. They became different type of people. Their whole, the way of speaking, the way of thinking, the way of handling issues was a Torah way of handling it, the real way with Hashem. That was Niskayim, and automatically their Melacha was Niskayim. Both, it lasted. It was strong. And then he says like that. This is so important how he explains it. He says, why was it Niskayim? Why does that happen? Because a person does the Melacha that he's doing. He uses the word k'tzas, but it means to say he's doing he's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Misham v'hala, here and further, he's just supposed to trust in Hashem. Not supposed to get aggravated from everything that's happening. You could delete 90% of aggravation, 100% of aggravation, I mean to say of the energy of the person invests in being aggravated. And this is the line which he adds, which gives a deeper explanation. He says, what happens is that if you understand that doesn't make a difference, all these, I did this, I did that, Parnos I'm getting from somewhere else, from a different source. What's going to happen is, Tisho'er daitoi penuya. His das, his mind, is going to be ready and open to be veliboy, and his heart will be prepared muchon lachasidus ha'amiti v'la'avoda atmima. which means a person was given a mind and a heart, which are tools to be able to connect to Hashem to the deepest levels of Kirvus Elokim. A person could think about Hashem, he can think about how Hashem runs the world and how Hashem is being mated with him and how he could serve him better and what's right and what's wrong and Torah and Midas. It doesn't end. It doesn't end. It's endless. How much a person could steig in understanding their tafkid, and they should see themselves how they're steiging. They're looking at things differently. They're handling issues not like they used to. They don't get upset and aggravated. It's things that used to get them aggravated. They trust in Hashem so much better. The davening looks better. It's a world of avodah. Now the Mesilas Yesharim is asking a bomb question. What's underlying what he's saying is that that's very good if a boy would be a bocher in yeshiva. If a boy is a bocher in yeshiva, but he would also be he would have the maturity of a 30, 40, 50-year-old, but he wouldn't have any problems with parnosa. He wouldn't have a family of children that he has to feed. He wouldn't have all these issues that come along. It's not only the food. The issues, Adla Shemaim, all these issues. Then a person can get up in the morning, and it's amazing. He says, okay, so what am I doing today to serve Hashem? I'm going to learn this new Masechta. I'm going to invest. I'm going to learn Chavis Al-Vovis and Mesilas Yesharim and Maral and Orachaim HaKadosh and Ramban. He's in seminary. It's amazing. Everything is just fluffy, amazing. But it's not like that. A person dives into the real life with the real issues. He doesn't have 24 hours worth of tirdus. He has 36 per day. That's how it is. You don't even get to solve half the issues. It's so overwhelming, but Emma's overwhelming. When people go a bit further in life. So what's the plan? So you can sometimes observe when you come into a shul and then you see, those young boys, Shabbos, they're shuckling and they're under parentras or whatever they are, and they're like living that dream life of Pesach, Shavuos, Rosh Hashanah. But for the older people that are stuck, they were busy every Rosh Hashanah making phone calls and transferring money into the bank, and they were busy taking care of that issue and that fire that they have to come, have to figure out what happened. They're like not in touch with Yiddishkeit, with the real Yiddishkeit. They come to shul and everything, but they're not in touch because they can't be here. So Mesilas Yesharim is saying, wait a minute. This is something very, very wrong. Like, when is he supposed to daven? When is he supposed to be invested in figuring out Avodas Hashem? He has that Yishuv Das. He's not even talking about taking an hour of a day on learning. He's talking about like thinking about it and writing chidushim. Like, when is that supposed to happen exactly? Hashem put him into this situation, and this is real. There's not people that are wasting a second of the day. So Mesilas Yesharim says, I'll explain to you. I'll explain to you what the Mahalach is. The concept is that if a person is trying to solve situations, he's trying to get his grip on results, it's going to be very, very painful because you're running after it and you don't really have the grip to bring results. So he's trying to do something and to make something happen, and he's running after it doesn't work. Hashem, not money-wise and not stam issues, all aspects in life, a person doesn't really have the koyach. So the plan is that all those issues are supposed to be tools to help him daven. Because if I have 5 issues on the table, then adarabah, it's the exact opposite. So that's going to make him get up early in the morning. If he's a yid, which has bitachon. And he says Tillim before davening because he's chashing to say Tillim before davening. He's saying, I'm going to invest in this davening, but not by coming bitter and coming upset, aggravated. I'm going to I know that the Yeshua is going to come. I'm going to be able to pull down that light, the abundance, whatever the solution is coming from above. The source is from a place that's higher than this Gashmitic world. By remembering that Chanun Racham Hashem, that Toiv Hashem Lakoil, Hashem has solutions, crazy solutions for issues, for problems. The person is going to remember it. And that's what's going to help the person take every issue in their life and turn into make him a better davener. And in that, because he's going to understand the results come from Hashem, from having emunah, from having bitochen. I just heard this story. There was a Baal Tshuva here in Eretz Yisrael, which worked on themselves and changed his whole lifestyle. And he got a job for one of these medical companies in Eretz Yisrael, maybe Teva. He drove their trucks, and he delivered medications to the pharmacies, which was high profile because it wasn't only a truck driver, it was more that he understood what these medications are and be able to handle issues that come up. He had the knowledge to be able to do the job the way it's supposed to be the person, the person that stores could talk to him, and it was a good job. He didn't have a big issue. But it was full day, and he didn't have time to learn. And he came to his Rav and he told his Rav, I don't learn. I come home at night, I'm done. And the Rav told him, well, you have to learn. He said, but I don't have time to learn. I said, okay, maybe try to listen on the way to something, or try to do something. It didn't work out. One day, he parked his truck, and he comes out of the pharmacy, and it's not there. And he's like, what's going on? What's going on? He looks around and he sees a commotion. He looks over the hill and he sees that it was a hill. And it started sliding down the truck on its own, and it was dry, and it crashed, and nobody got actually hurt. Baruch Hashem, nobody, but it crashed. It was a big mess. So he comes and he says, I parked it normal, and it can't happen. I have no idea how this happened. And he took care of it. At night he got a phone call from the company, and the company told him that, we're so sorry, you were a really good worker, but we can't have you be a truck. If something like that could happen, we can't have you in this job because, insurance with all that. It's not. Forget about it. And it was really nice having you, but it's not shaykh. He was destroyed, and he sat, and his Rav he called his Rav said, don't worry, something is better is going to come, and Hashem is not going to leave go of you. He's waiting a week, 2 weeks, a month, nothing going on. He's sitting at home. And it's very depressing. And why did Hashem do this to him? After like 6 weeks, he called his Rav and he said, I'll tell you the honest truth, I'm having doubts about my Yiddishkeit. Why do I deserve? I didn't do anything. I don't know how this happened to me. I'm sitting at home without a job, and it's 6 weeks, and I don't have money. And his Rav was trying to help him. His Rav told him, listen, you're having a very big nisur in your Yiddishkeit, but if you pass it, then you're going to get to the next level, to the next step. Because the Yetzer Hara only has a certain, he tries to see if you're honest, if you're serious, even when it's hard. He kept trucking, maybe pun intended. He kept going in his Yiddishkeit, and he gets a phone call from the company. The company tells him, maybe 2 months later, he says, well, we tried, we took someone, but he didn't have the medical knowledge. He didn't, so he was a truck driver, but he wasn't good. We had to fire him. We took somebody else, but he wasn't showing up. He wasn't as serious as you. We took a third person. We're not managing, and we had a meeting, and we decided that we need you, but we can't have you be the truck driver. So you're going to be sitting in the next seat next to him, and you're going to be the person in charge with the stores, with the orders, with everything. But somebody else is going to do the driving. We're so sorry. We'll pay you everything, but you can't do the driving. And he got the job back, and he got his learning back, and he was able to sit and learn. And it's such a fascinating story because it happens to us. These stories happen. These are not stories that happen once, and it constantly, Hashem moves it around. These situations that a person should be able to, the solutions come from a place a person can't fathom. A person doesn't have the tools to think how the solution is going to come. But back to what we were discussing, the Mesilas Yesharim is saying a very, very big yesod. He's saying extremely strong yesod. The idea of Melacha was never ever meant to take away your focus. No. If you find yourself that your mind and your heart is not there, you're not a good person. It's chaval. Even Chochmas Chaim Dik, it took you over. How could it be? So you got invested in it, and that's it. There's no person anymore. You took a beautiful machine, you took a fascinating creation that Hashem created, and you ruined it. There's no chokhmah going in, there's no feelings going in, there's no investing. The person should become. You're not becoming a better person. That's such a waste. That's such a baltashkes. You're not becoming a better person. Can be. This is
the real kva and arai.
Yes. That's the kva and arai that we're talking about. The Mesilas Yesharim explained it very clear. He's saying it's a run-on sentence. He says, "Ishtadlus you have to do because you have to do." And that's what the Hasidim or Rishonim, they made this the Ikka and this the Tafel. And the idea was that if they're not going to get aggravated all day, then what's going to happen is that their das and their leiv is going to be open and ready like a yeshiva bacha. And Adarabah, situations that come up is going to help them and remind them how they're supposed to rely on Hashem and how they're supposed to daven to Hashem and how it has nothing to do. And then they're going to start seeing crazy things, and there's no yotzei min haklal. Whoever starts living like that, whoever does that, is going to see again and again and again how Hashem is changing the world for such a person, nothing to do. Just the other day, I was busy with someone that tickets are crazy priced now, not normal. The prices of tickets, and there are people that are searching and refreshing constantly to see, Dan's deals with Zach, and all day they're busy. I was just in touch with someone, he needed a ticket, and he didn't do any of the above, and none of the above. His shiloh was one thing, is the right thing to travel, is the wrong thing to travel, what does Hashem want? He figured out he has to ask this Adam Godel, he has to keep it of all kinds of, until, okay, is the right thing? Okay, so now we go, only then, the day before, okay, then we go buy a ticket. He goes, it was a business ticket, and he finds a ticket with a few $1,000s cheaper, a few $1,000s cheaper than what's happening. Yeah, that's the prices today, and I know the exact numbers. It's Dvarim Pshutim today, and he calls the travel agent. Travel agent tells him there's no such thing. He says, well, that's what I see. The travel agent says, let me check it out. The bottom line is, it wasn't only that he got that ticket without doing anything, without searching. It was the exact dates with the exact airline, that he wanted a specific airline. He didn't go anywhere else, nothing. I need to go with this airline for Yiddishkeit purposes. I want this airline. And for Yiddishkeit purposes, if I don't want to miss Shachar, so this is what I need. The travel agent tells him, I don't believe my eyes. He says, okay, I'm going to book it for you. I'm going to give it to you another $200 cheaper. That's what the travel agent told him. And then what happened was that he tells me, now go look. There's nothing available. Shtussim. There's no such a thing. It was one ticket. But that wasn't even the end of the story. It's crazy. It wasn't the end of the story. I was witnessing. I just saw that person, again for Yiddishkeit purposes, again for strictly Eibishter, he understood that the Ratzon Hashem is for him to push off his ticket. Now, the problem is that these tickets, when you push them off, whoever did that once, especially these kind of situations, because if you got the lowest class fare, the other flight doesn't have that available anymore. Not Negeya. He called the airline, and the agent said it's $5,000 if you want to change it, because it's a new ticket and it's a one-way in a ganze Meise, plus $50 handling fee. He said, could I speak to the supervisor? The agent said, there's no point. There's nothing else. I know the system. He said, yeah, but let me speak to the supervisor. He said, but you're going to wait a half an hour. You can't. He said, I'll wait a half an hour. It's fine. He was with the supervisor. I witnessed it. 3 minutes later, he was with the supervisor. He told the supervisor, I need to change my ticket. He told him, because I have a wicht. Within he says it's done. Not even $50 handling fee. Gonish. At kedei kach that the family members of this person were so worried that he's dreaming, and they were calling him 5 times in the airport if he actually has a seat. Did you check in? It said that you're dreaming, and it's every single day. It's every single day. It's happening every single day. It's not a story. We're saying stories from the last few hours, but these things is going to happen for a person that his mind is going to be invested in what you're supposed to. Then you have a person. This person could be Moshe Shefa. If the mind is invested in work, then you don't have a person. Everything is closed. Everything is closed. So what's happening is, of course, it's Ein Niskayim because it's such a chaval. We just lost out on a person. And it cannot be that was the tachlis. It's a mistake. A goy should understand that it's a mistake. A goy should understand that it's a mistake. It's a mistake. It's ruining. It's not the Melacha is not a Melacha. The Melacha is not a Melacha. It's not the Torah. It's not how much you're learning. It's about using the wrong thing. Someone that's using a very delicate instrument or whatever and is using it to knock something in. What are you doing? You're using the wrong tool. You're ruining it. That's the concept of Torah Sekva Malachta Yara. Every person is supposed to find themselves like that. And this is men and women. It's not going to help that you're helping your husband learn Kodesh. So get going to help him. It's simple. It's such a mistake. It's not going to help you. If you're invested in something that's you're totally in that, then your das and lev is not ready to connect to Hashem. Then it's not a person. Then it's a machine. Maybe it's a cleaning lady and a where's the person?
Even if the man, if he gives chumash,
not going to help anything. The tzedakah is not going to help anything. And the tzedakah is not going to help you. The guy, this is one of the biggest, craziest mistakes that people make. He says, but no, you speak to people that have sitting $100 million, $150 million. I'm not making up numbers. They're talking about Hamish guys, regular. Yeah, these are the numbers. And they can't daven and learn. They can't. Why? Because they're so... Right now, they're so invested in the stock market and this and that, checking, refreshing every 10 minutes, in shul, in the middle of Chazar Hashat. And you ask them, and you say, you have enough to make chasana einiklach. And what? He says, but I have to give tzedakah. You know how many times I heard it? From those people. I'm not talking about, no, but you don't know how many tzedakahs I give. I have to continue to give tzedakah. And the taka giving tzedakah. Big numbers. And the biggest tsar for them is if they can't give anymore, if they're not, I have to produce, I can't sit and every year the what's the name? The Keren. The principal, what to say. You're not allowed to touch the principal. That's it. They don't want to touch the principal. They want, you could only give tzedakah from what you earn. I'm not earning anything. And it's a broken machine. This is a very broken machine because it doesn't make a difference. All these tzedakahs, don't worry, Hashem can figure it out. They should have money without you. Where are you? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense what you're doing. It doesn't make any sense. And no matter what, not for a man, not for a woman, and not in order to make that the husband should sit and learn. Because you can't ruin a person. It's a mistake on a mistake, such a thing. It doesn't mean she shouldn't go to work. That's not what it means. It means if you find yourself that there's no day and there's no night, there's no person. There's no person. There's no connection to Hashem. The das and the lev is not there. Not for the chinuch of the children, not for my own connection to Hashem. That's a mistake. You're not doing your job.
Would this apply even to say a manal of a Mossad of Kodesh? It's a manal, he worked crazy.
Yep. It applies to people that are osik v'soch tzibur. It applies for askonim, and it applies for askonim from pikuach nefesh. I'll say it again. That's not what I'm saying. I didn't say that. It applies to Askarim and Pekuach Nefesh. The Vision Rebbe from Monsi, Zechon Levrocha, has a child, the Yushalayim Rebbe from. He is a huge Askin in Refuah, and famous for years. And his father called him in, all his children, how many hours they have to learn every day? 5 hours, Ritzufas, and he came to his father and he told him, I'm talking Pekuach Nefesh phone calls. And his father told him, okay, so learn 4 hours a day. It went until 3 hours a day. He told his father, it's not shy for me to learn. She says, so drop it. He said, it's Pikuach Nefesh. He said, so drop it. I told you to drop it. If you can't be a Yid because you're too busy doing mitzvahs, then don't do the mitzvahs. Got it? People are not used to hearing such harsh sprach. You asking, it's a mistake. I'll say it again, and I'm not the one that's saying it. Asking has to be a Yid, and then you could add everything upon that. You could be up at night for Askonis with Pekuach Nefesh. It's not a problem at all. You could close the Gemara for Askonis because it's a mitzvah she'ef shel asir sadei acherim. That's not what's wrong. That's not wrong. That says in Halacha, it says in the Gemara. The issue is that if you can't have your das v'leiv ponui for the Ron Shalom, then you're not a Yid. Then close shop. What does it mean in the practical world? In the practical, it means that a person knows, and this it gets us to every type of ishtadlus. It brings us to every. It doesn't only mean ishtadlus and parnasa. It means even what people are doing in kiruv, even what people investing in saying shiurim, in everything. I'll explain to you what it means. The concept is, if I'm so busy doing for others that I can't be a Yid, then I'm not doing my tafkid. What is the plan? Here comes the line that connects all the dots. The concept was they cannot bring results. Where do people get aggravated? Where do people have where do they get invested emotionally that they can't daven? When they try to bring results. That's where the mistake is, and that's where they get invested emotionally, and then their emotions are taken. They have to get something done. If a person is, like someone told me, he works for Uber, wherever he is, and he gets a job, that's what he does, Ratzon Hashem. He doesn't decide. He gets it in the morning. He knows, I have to prepare myself for davening through learning. I have to daven. I have to learn. I have to daven. Nothing going on until I start to open my phone. I still have to invest in learning, and then I wait for the first call to come. Here it's Achnos HaSorchim, here it's Bikkur Cholim, here it's Shalom Bayis, here whatever it takes. He says, I do the Ratzon Hashem. He said, my job is not to make things work out. I don't have to bring the results. My job is to do. What happens then is that you do something, and then you ask Hashem. You ask Hashem. Hashem should make. There should be Yeshua. You start having your bitachon become stronger. Your tefillah becomes stronger. Everything becomes stronger, and the two main parts, the functions that the person needs to be a Yid, are working, and he's a Yid. And everything, all the issues, everything is a Yid. When something doesn't work out, he doesn't get so aggravated. And the aggravation that he does have, he invests into tefillah. He invests into connecting to Hashem, that Hashem is bringing me to a better place. Hashem wants something from me. I rely on Hashem. It keeps on revolving around that. Now, here is something interesting. Back to the Chovos HaLevavos, that a person should choose something that he's good at. Taking all this, so it has the practical part of it, that a person is not going to be successful if he's doing something that he's not good at. So if you're not going to be successful, you're just wasting your time. So take something, that should be your starting point. Try to do something. Now, of course, Hashem is going to lead you wherever you need to go, but you should look at that. Once again, we're coming back to the same Nakuda. If you are looking at how much you could earn, if you're focused on that, then you are ruining from the inside the Torah Melacha. You're ruining it. You're going to ruin it. It's going to haunt the person. When a person's taking a job, he has to see what's the hours of the job. Is it in a job? Some people say, maybe I should earn $100 a month. That's not a job. That's not a job. A job, we mean a job that's paying. The minimum they have to pay is they have to pay. What is it called? Minimum wage. They're paying. You need more, but say that's something else. But they're paying. It's a job that you could do. It's a job that you could invest. If you're going to get invested emotionally in how much you're earning, you're going to be not matzliach in your job. You're not going to be matzliach in your person as a person. The das, the lev, everything is going to get messed up. That's why you have to be very serious. We said Shlomo HaMelech to do the job, but adarabah, the seriousness has to be in the asiyah part, not in the results part. Serious in coming to work every single day. Adarabah, the people that only look for results, they slow down if they don't see results. They get depressed if they didn't. The person that's investing in that part, they're good. More than that, Chazal say, Pshoit nevelte b'shuka va'altet starach lebriyas. A person should do something that he doesn't feel comfortable. That means he feels it's not for his dignity. It's below his dignity to do something like that. If you're good at it, don't let those things get in the way. Don't let those things get. You know, in the Hamish Oilim, there's so much talent. Because I'm not going to do it because it's below my dignity. It's a mistake. It's a very big. It's not talking people who don't have talent from Pshilt Nevel to B'Shukah, because then he's just going to stand next to the Nevela and he won't even do the job. We're talking about someone that knows how to do it. If you know how to do it, then don't be embarrassed to use your talent. It shouldn't be in the way. Adarabah, that's going to be a keli, a tool for you to be able to serve Hashem. All the things when they get in the way, most of the times the person is looking at the wrong. He's focusing on totally the wrong aspects to make his decision of which job to take. A lot of times it's atzlus. A person's not allowed to have atzlus, like we said before. He doesn't work so hard. Well, if it's not going to take away your das and leiv, then it's good for you. It's good for you. Adarab, it's going to hold you back from Averis, and it's going to build the person. It's going to turn the person into a healthy person. If the person is going to do the right, he's going to have the right aspect while he's making his decision. The pros and cons are going to be healthy. Most people are messed up by the pros and cons of the job. Lagamri messed up. Now, it cannot create a healthy nefesh and a oived Hashem if your whole Seder Hayom is built on a not healthy decision. Busha, that a person is embarrassed to do this, is an example of a not healthy decision. It's an example. Why didn't you do it? So it's sensitive, because sometimes it could be that the person, his wife can handle it. It's going to make a shalom bayis. Yeah, there's sometimes a musig that you have to discuss it with someone, because it could backfire. You're allowed to mention it, but when a person is saying, "What do you mean? I had an image always that I'm going to be the COO." Yeah, I'm going to sit in an office with a tie. I'm not being a blue collar. I'm not masking. No, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. You have a talent. Use the talent. The decision, this is the nakuda, the decision when people are looking at what they want to choose in the beginning or what they want to get to. Like, my dream is one day I'm going to be in the top. That is usually, in most cases, driven by totally not to the zach. It's not, the pros and cons are totally not lefi the Torah. And when it's not lefi the Torah, then it's unhealthy. It's not only that. And when it's unhealthy, it can't bring success. Not in Torah and not in Melacha. Both of them, they're not going to be successful. That's what it means. Zev zelin is kaim b'yoda. The Chazal are teaching us it could be painful the first minute, but you're going to feel so healthy. Imagine a person has to call up someone and ask him, he regrets and he should be moichel, forgive me. It's not comfortable, but you know how healthy it is. I can meet him in shul. Person walks over to the other and says, I shouldn't have said what I said yesterday. I was thinking about it. I shouldn't have said. It's not comfortable, but it's healthy. How do you feel afterwards? When a person is choosing a job, don't do an unhealthy move. Don't do something because you're friends. It's such a heavy price that people pay for using those. You should look at the Torah. And one of those mistakes is focusing on the money. It's one of those mistakes. Ingaman just left me a message. He said there was someone making chasana. He told me the details exactly who, what. He said he was still emotional, and he's right now in the summer in the Catskills in his bungalow colony. He was making chasana. 2 children, 7 weeks apart. He said that's how it came out. 2 children marrying off 7 weeks apart. No way of having money for. He said, what happened when he davened to Rebbeinu Shalom Yaramuna? It just happened to Maisa. Nishmer Nishveniga, listen carefully. He had a wire into his bank account of $150K. $150,000. Who gave him the wire? What's going on? He sees a guy. A certain guy with information. I guess he knows. He had epis shaykh with the guy. The guy sent it to him. The kid said, he waits a day or two, does something, keine Wettnisch garnished. You know, he has any soy and this, he goes to his Rav, he tells his Rav, so what do we do now? You know, it's hardest pan you could imagine. The Rav says, listen, you have to tell the guy, it's a Torah's Akum. Talk to the guy. We're Yidden. He talks to the guy, and he tells the guy says, I don't make mistakes. I have never made a mistake in business. I never gave a person no one to talk to. No one to talk to. I might show you right now. I don't make mistakes. I never made a mistake. He doesn't want. He doesn't want to talk to him. His gaiva or whatever it is. Right now, he just finished the chasana, and Baruch Hashem, this shiraim still from both chasanas. You know, it could sometimes. People could start refreshing their bank account and see maybe it happened to me also. But it doesn't happen again. Every story only happens once because Hashem wants emunah. So that person was Basher. It's such an interesting zach. But the stories don't end. The stories never end. The only people that are holding back for more stories to happen is the people that are being beiteach on their ishtadlus. Those are the people that are being. The more people that are going to disconnect. They're going to totally disconnect. They're going to invest themselves in Nesina. They're going to invest themselves in being serious. And the Torah Sikva is they're going to know the strongest possible truth that Torah and Tefillah brings Parnasa, Gimel Chasodim and Amunah and Fartik. That's what I need to work on. Then they will see stories. Maisa Nachamaisa. Maisa Nachamaisa. Every people have it with our voice that they're taking. There's a younger man that talks to me a lot. He's now in a situation he's being a chassan he doesn't have, but he's drained, like they call it. A 30,000 shekel, 50,000 shekel, and he's paying back everybody. But the not normal stories, he works with such a emunah, with such a bitachon. He doesn't beg, he doesn't push. Feels maybe it's the right thing to go over to this person. You should see how I watched it. David wants, I'll have. David doesn't want, I won't have. Comes over to the guy, maybe you have alvo. Not normal stories. Every day. I watched him by one of the things that were happening, Mamash Anes, and he smirked. He saw me, he says, every day by me. Every day. Such mice. It's a moidig bittel. He was just going to say no, I'm fine. He sees it so many times. No pushing. Situations, disappointments, he just swallows. And when a person becomes bought the Rebbeinu Shalom, they see open miracles. They start living like that. Their davenings are different. Their kibbutz is different. It's a different type of life. Okay. Opstellen da. The